or type in the chat box anything you need that you're trying to do with your kids and you want to see how to do it in Nearpod. Sorry, I was on the phone with OnCourse again. You can unmic if you would rather do it that way. Is anybody having issues logging in and getting the gold feature on yours? If you find out that you do, just shoot me an email because I've uploaded everybody. If you're using your Canada Discovery account, it should automatically have upgraded you once you log in. Sometimes people's emails, they have hyphenated emails, so they're not going over correctly. So I just need to adjust it in the system. Okay. So there are two main ways to use Nearpod now. There is the option to have an interactive Nearpod based on some Google Slides or PowerPoint slides that you already have available. And there is an option now to have, just like Edpuzzle did, embedded, pull up a video and you can embed questions within. So I am basically going to go through Nearpod. I'm going to show you both ways to do those. And then unfortunately, I can do it as a kid, but we're not going to be able to see data until you guys start having some data with your kiddos. And then I'll do another one on data. And then I saw Lynn was here. We're going to have one for administrators once everybody starts getting data so that you guys can see from the school level what it looks like. And happy Sunday, everyone. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And what I've done is I've logged into Nearpod. You just go to nearpod.com, go to teachers, and then log in. And then you're just going to sign in with your Google email address. And this is where it brings you. So I have some things in here. I will say this, just so everyone's aware, Carrie likes to build her lessons in Google Slides. I prefer to build my lessons in Nearpod. I find it's easier. So if you're looking at Carrie's and it's not making sense, or you're looking at mine, it's not making sense, go check out Carrie's. Or if you're looking at Carrie's, you can look at the ones that we did for middle and high. So essentially, what you have to have when you're building an Nearpod is some sort of, you're either going to create the lesson within blank in Nearpod, or you have some sort of Google slide presentation with some information from your kids, or it could be a PowerPoint. One thing I would like to point out to you is that some people have these lovely interactive notebooks and they're not in horizontal, they're in vertical. It will not allow you to create a Nearpod lesson if your slides are vertical. Okay, so just keep in mind that when you're downloading fantastic things from Teachers Pay Teachers or using previous stuff, it does not allow you to do vertical stuff. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of show you how I would do this if I was starting from scratch. Some of you may already have Google Slides, so you may not go from that route. I like using Google Slides. If you prefer PowerPoint, have at it. Some people's textbooks come with PowerPoints already. You can upload those and adjust them. But I'm basically going to go into Google Slides and start a slide presentation. So, and I'm totally making this up, y'all. So bear with me. So say this is a particular lesson on, what am I going to do a lesson on today? Something I actually know. Say this is a lesson on cells, and you have a subtitle, and you can make all these fancy things. Why I dislike putting so much effort into Google Slides initially is when it uploads into Nearpod, it's flattening it. It's making it an image. So if you have anything that needs to be moved around or clickable links, you want to do that later when you get into Nearpod. Okay, so this is basically just your like info. So we're going to go ahead, we'll make it pretty. Why not? Let's say we're going to make it okay. So now we're going to click on cells. Maybe you have this as unit 1, lesson 4. Totally making this up out of my head, y'all. Don't judge me. Okay. So then you're going to have your information here. Maybe this is your learning objectives. And you're going to have your learning objectives as blah, 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 and da-da-da. For time sensitive, I'm just making this up. Okay. So then you're going to have your first thing. So we're going to talk about what are cells. And then down here, you're going to go and you may already have all this built. Why am I typing this? You also don't want to bring in any videos. You can bring in pictures, but you don't want to bring in any pictures. I mean, any videos, because it's not going to upload. You want to pull your videos in later in Nearpod. Okay, so I have my definition for cells. And of course, I copy and pasted wrong. Okay. And then we're going to go in and we're going to type in organelles. And we're going to say, what are organelles? And then we're going to copy this and put it here. And then maybe you're going to have one for each thing. We're going to call this the nucleus. And we're going to grab one of these fancy pictures. That's not what I want. We're going to copy that image and put it in here. And then we're going to okay, so this is what we have. So we're going to upload this in a Nearpod. Okay. So I'm going to choose this lesson in Nearpod. Even though I made it in Google Slides, I'm not choosing the lesson in Google Slides. You can, if you want. I find it's harder to do, but we can do one. All right, so then you have these things where you can just start adding slides. If you don't have anything built, you can build it in here if you want. I like having it in Google Slides because I'm one of those old school people who likes to have what I've given the kids like year to year, so if I need to make changes. But I don't know, maybe the new way is going to be everything's done in here. I don't know. Okay, so it's going to automatically create. Now, if you had a PowerPoint, you could pull it up here. If you've used Dropbox before or OneDrive, they're there. It's going to pick the most recent things that I've done today. So I'm going to click on the cells. It gives you an option. Let me zoom in. I don't know how to zoom in. Okay, that doesn't help. It lets you upload as individual slides. So it says you can upload these files as a series of individual slides as a scrolling slideshow. So if you just wanted, if you had something that was already done and you just wanted to pull it in as a slideshow, you do create PDF viewer, but we're going to do it as individual slides because we want to build some formative assessment pieces in and around and collaboration features in and around Nearpod. So you're going to click individual slides. Depending on how big it is, will depend on how long it takes. See, it says file processing, blah, blah, blah. Tells you to take a brain break. Yeah, Tara, you want to do any additional animations after you get out of Google Slides. That's why I don't like creating it in Google Slides, because sometimes I get carried away and I've made this really awesome thing in Google Slides, and when I come back to the Nearpod, it's all gone. Yours should show school library, so you need to, you need to make sure, I bet you yours is going by your other name. So I'm going to write a note to myself to fix that today. What email address are you using? Hope.gladney? And then I'll add that in. I'll just go change it. And then you should see it. Okay, got it. I'll work on that. Yeah, anybody who had a name change or has an alternate, you're going to have to use, I just have to change it in Nearpod to whatever it is that you're using. I'll adjust to you. Don't worry. Okay. So here you have my slides. So they come in and they're images. once again. So you can add slides, say you forgot something or you want to add anything in, but we're going to work primarily with this because you want to make sure your lessons. So I've seen some people, and I do understand the need for making really long ones, but understand the kids don't have logins for Nearpod. So when they log in, they're typing their name in. So if they don't finish it in one sitting, you're going to have, when they come back to do it, they're going to have to log in again and it starts them over. They don't get to go back to what their work was. So making them short and sweet are going to be the best options. Even if you have several short and sweet things that they do, especially for your kids who get extended time, they're not going to be able to handle all that information at once. And once they log out, they're going to be so frustrated when they have to come back and create a new Nearpod and go back and answer all the questions, especially if you have it created, which you probably should, that they can't turn in or submit the Nearpod until they've completed all the interactive formative pieces that you have, because that's the whole reason why we want to get this information from the kids. So making it short and sweet, even if you had several different Nearpods, Nearpod 1, take a break, Nearpod 2, take a break, maybe Nearpod 3 is on, whatever. And these are just suggestions, not, I'm not relaying any other information. Yeah, Nancy, I would just do like the basics and the, in there and whatever. And you can always say you did this and you're like, this is not long enough for the kids. I need to go back, and you made a second list. You could upload in here and take out the other ones. So you totally can do that. I just kind of get the basics of what I want in here, and now I'm going to add additional slides. So now I'm going to go to add slide. It gives you all these content options. Okay, so it lets you add a video. It lets you add a slide, web content, vocabulary videos, a Nearpod 3D, which we're probably not even ready to deal with this, but I'm just telling you it's there. PhET simulations are primarily for science. They have really great ones, and they're all included with our district license. They have these amazing virtual reality field trips. They have a Desmos graphing calculator, BBC Worldwide Videos, Sway. Hold on one second. Sorry. The Sway is Microsoft's PowerPoint option. This content, okay, I'll show you again. You go to add slide, and that's where the content is. You can add a slideshow, you can add audio, or a PDF viewer. So for this particular one, I am going to see if there's a vocabulary video that they have about cells. If they don't, then we're going to go try the other video route, because I want to get them excited about cells. And before you people even ask, I'm just going to tell you right now that I've already asked for Brain Pop to be added into Nearpod. YouTube ones, yes, Sarah, but any of these that are built in, no. All right, so we're going to go, you can preview it and whatever. I pretend like I always preview it, but if they're in here, they're good. So we're going to add this. When you add any additional content, it sticks it in the back. So actually what I want to happen is I want the kids to see this. I want them to watch my video and then go into the learning objectives, okay? And then I want to add a slide now where I'm going to go into activities. They have time to climb, open-ended questions, matching pairs, quizzes. Quiz just means ABC or AB or ABCD. You can add Flipgrid, draw its, meaning they can draw or type on the screen, collaborate boards, polls, fill in the blank, or a memory test. So for this one, I'm going to ask an open-ended question. And you have some options. What I want them to tell me is what a cell is. What do you think a cell is? Now, granted, they've already seen cells and they've seen the vocabulary video about cells. So I'm just trying to gather any pre-existing knowledge that these kids have about cells before they continue to get to the content. You can add a timer. I highly suggest not adding a timer because of extended time and students, and it makes them nervous and then they get frustrated. You also can have this thing down here that allows you to build mathy stuff in here. You can add, I could have added the video here if I wanted to. So you could have them watch a video and ask an open-ended question. This could be maybe you don't have a slide presentation, which I'll show you when we get to the creating directly in Nearpod. I always, and whatever you think is fine, but I always enable student audio recordings. As a parent of 2 dyslexic children who have difficulty with typing, you know, I always have that as an option. Once you do that, the kids can record themselves answering your question instead of typing it out. That's going to be an individual basis. Obviously, if you're asking a math question, you may not always do that. And you may have Nearpods for different groups. Remember, in on-course classroom, you can have the kids who have accommodations. They may have a Nearpod that has these options and the other ones may not. So we're going to go ahead and add this. What do you think a cell is? And all the way down at the bottom, there's this save button. So don't miss it. And then I'm going to save it. And once again, it always goes to the end. It doesn't assume where you want it to go. So we're going to put this open-ended question here. Oh, hello, here. And then after the kids get the open-ended question, what are cells? Then they're going to find out what cells are. And then it's going to go into organelles. So then it's going to go into nucleus. So then I'm going to add another slide after my nucleus. And I'm going to add an activity. And I'm going to ask a quiz question. Do prokaryotes have a nucleus? Then you put however many answer choices you have. You could have additional video, audio, or whatever that goes through. We're going to say yes, and then we're going to say no, and then you can continue to add answers if it was like 3 or 4 or whatever. You have to check what the right answer is, okay? And it'll show up as a green little bubble thing. If you made a mistake, you just uncheck and recheck. You can also drag and reorder the options that you put them in here. Then you can add a duplicate question and just continue to change it since you already have your 4 questions built. If you're adding your, you know, exit ticket or whatever here. I'm going to go ahead to add media. You can add images, video, PDF viewers, audio, web content, and an audio recorder. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add audio here. To add audio, this would be, I'm also doing some, it's going to be up to you, Liz. I make mine in Google Slides just because it's easier than making them in Nearpod, but I'm going to show you all how to do it in Nearpod if you need to. There is a microphone option where I have 5,000,001 things up here. Hold on. Where it allows you to screen audio record yourself. If I can find it. Okay. Then again, maybe not. I must have deleted it. So you have to record your video ahead, your audio ahead of time. Yes.
You can't record your own on the question slides.
Wait, yes, I know. I had a thing in here to automatically record because it was there when I did my on-course one, but now it is not there. I don't know where or why it went away. Okay, so we're just going to use this one. Okay. So what is my question now that do prokaryotes have a nucleus? Do prokaryotes have a nucleus? Stop. I'm going to click save. It's going to download it to my device. Okay. And notice I just Googled voice recorder. There's a bazillion in one of them. They're just free, easy things. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to add audio. I'm going to upload it from my computer. Okay. Upload it from my computer. And then it's there. As a person who's dealt with accommodations, I'm just kind of showing you some different ways that you can accommodate for your kids in here. Just saying. Okay. And then I'm going to click save on that one. Okay. So the quiz is exactly where I want it to be. All these things are in here. I want to now go and view this as my kid. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. Well, no, I lied. I'm going to go to my slide here. Because just like you would in class, you're going to want to read this for them. So you can adjust the background. So this is where we kind of be different, Liz. You can add a background to your slide. You can change the layout here. They have all these really cool features on the side. It's just really going to be your preference. And then I'm going to add audio because I'm going to read this aloud to the students. Here, there's a built-in. It does not have read aloud already built in. So that's what we're doing now. So you can do an audio file if you had it separate, but they do allow audio recorder. So as soon as I click this button, I'm just going to read the slide, just like I would as if I was teaching this in class. What are cells? Cells are the basic building blocks of all living things. The human body is composed of trillions of cells. Cells have many parts, each with different function. Some of these parts, called organelles, are specialized structures that perform certain tasks within the cell. And you just click pause, and then you can play it back to listen, and you can either trash can it and start over. What are cells? Cells are the basic building blocks of all living things. And listen to how lovely you think your voice sounds, because I hate listening to myself. And then click the save button. Must click the save button. It's going to show you processing, and then you can listen to it again once it's done. We're going to assume it's good to go. We're going to save and exit. And then maybe we're going to talk a little bit. So on this one, if you remember, I just put a picture. I didn't have any text on the slide whatsoever. But if I was in class, I'd probably talk about what the nucleus is. Let's see, audio. Okay. So then I'm going to add any information, but I don't expect the kids to know maybe this vocabulary, so I don't have any text on it, but I'm just going to kind of talk about it. And so I'm going to add audio and add an audio recorder. And I'm going to say, in this image, where the red arrow is pointing, is the nucleus of the cell. The nucleus is the organelle found in only eukaryotic cells. It's fully enclosed inside this nuclear membrane. So we'll stop it there and we'll click save. Once again, I'm making this up, so for me, biology is the easiest go-to. Okay, and then I'm going to save and exit. And then I'm going to go ahead and add another slide here because I'm like, okay, I forgot a slide, so I'm going to add a slide. And this is what it looks like in that area or whatever. So I'm going to say, don't forget to check on course. Okay, and then I'm going to add content here, and I'm going to go and look for something animated. And then I'm going to make it a little smaller so they can see it. So then I'm going to save and exit. All right, so now I think I'm pretty much done. This is my little mini lesson for my students. I'm going to save and exit. I forgot to title it. And then it lets you choose the grade levels. I don't even know what grade levels this would be. And multi-select different areas. That's if you're going to save it to the bank so that you can search for it if you're going to add it to the school bank. All right, so now it's here. So I have options. I can go back and edit it if I forgot to do something. But actually what I want to do right now is preview it as a kid. What is happening? Okay. So you're going to have this preview, and I'm going to kind of go through in the orders that it was to see if it makes sense from the teacher end. So this is going to be just like how the students would see it.
Settle down. Today we're gonna talk about life. There's 6 ways to know you're alive for sure. Living things have cells. They use stimuli to maintain homeostasis. They have DNA.
I'm taking notes.
They reproduce. They live, thrive, and sex. They use energy.
Hey yo, first things first. There's 3 different types of living things on the earth. You heard? There's organisms with 1 cell whose life functions are performed by organelles. And green plants use photosynthesis. A chloroplast converts sunlight and lives with it. And last are the animals. Listen, cells, tissue, organ to organ system. And they're unique. I can't lie, Holmes. Only animal cells contain lysosomes, but all cells contain ribosomes that make proteins, the building blocks, I suppose. Yo, but don't get caught slipping on the oils and the fats, aka the lipids. Cells need fuel to break carbohydrates into ATP, adenosine triphosphate.
Alright, y'all. Cell theory has 3 parts.
Okay, I love vocabulary, but I'm going to fast forward so we can get to all the other stuff. But the vocabulary videos are amazing, by the way. So we're going to go through, and then the kid's going to go to the next slide. All right, so this is my learning objectives, and I didn't read anything because I didn't really type anything, but you could read the learning objectives. So the kids will see the open-ended question, and then notice it's asking for permission, and it allows me, if I'm the kid, to record audio. So I can click on the button, record audio, and the teacher could hear the audio. All right, so now I'm here on my first slide with information, and I'm going to go ahead and play. What are cells? Cells are the basic building blocks of all living things. The human body is okay. So they're listening to it. They can see it. They can replay it as many times as they need to. They're going to get to the same thing on organelles, which I didn't record sound on. And then we'll be to this one where we recorded sound. In this image, where the red arrow is pointing, is the nucleus of the cell. So you'll get the information just like you would if you were in the class, teaching it to the kids. All right. So I have my question here. Do prokaryotes have a nucleus? This is something you're going to have to teach your students who get this feature, or to show them how to do it, because it doesn't it's very small here. Do prokaryotes have a nucleus? Now, the issue with this is it doesn't allow you to do the answer choices for read aloud. I have asked them for this so that we could press play to have them read the answer choices, but I am working on that as well. Okay, and then, oh, I didn't select one. So they would have to select one if they were doing it, if you set it up that way, and I'll show you. And then they get to this last one that says, don't forget to check on-course classroom, blah, 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 blah. And then when they get to the end, it'll say you've reached the end or submit. They keep changing it. I'm not exactly sure. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into Nearpod. You have the option to do this as live participation or student paced. If you do it as live participation, you're doing it in the front of the classroom, and the kids can't go to the next slide until you do on your teacher side. So this is going to be live participation. Is going to be either when you have them in your physical classrooms, whenever that happens, or if you're doing it in asynchronous. I highly don't suggest trying to do a Google Meet and a Nearpod live participation synchronous, because the kids have they have to go back and forth between tabs. And then it's really difficult for them. So the whole point on a lot of this, and this is just some thoughts from me to how to structure, is this is the kind of stuff you're going to assign them on their asynchronous days. This is going to be your front loading. So then if they've seen this on their asynchronous day, when they come to their 20 or however long minute Google Meet, we're going to talk about cells. And I may pull this up and share my screen and present with the kids and go over it and talk about a few things. And then I also will have all the data from who answered the questions correctly to know if they all bombed it, how do I need to reteach that? So that's what you're going to focus in on your synchronous. So this is, since we're all online, it's going to make no difference. Or if we all came back, 6 through 12 is hybrid. So you're going to front load that on the asynchronous content. And then you're going to basically clear up any misconceptions using the data that you're getting from the Nearpod on the students as you go through. So what you're going to do is then you're going to create a student paste. Live paste will just start. They give this toggle require student submissions. This means the kids have to answer the quizzes or the open-ended questions in order to submit and get credit for the assignment. which this is how you're tracking that they're working on the asynchronous days anyway. I would require student submissions unless you had a situation where you wouldn't. And then you can change the date on how long this is live. So I'm just going to leave. I think it does 30 days or something. So I just leave it. There would be no reason to close it, I guess. Maybe you have a reason. I don't know. Then there's all these other options down here. View progress means if you give this to the kids on an asynchronous day and, you know, you go in that afternoon at whatever time they're supposed to have the stuff done by. I don't even know how that's all working yet. But like I said, you can go in at 2 o'clock and view the progress and see what kids have been working. So maybe you need to address any kids who haven't logged in yet or haven't started your Nearpod lesson at that time. So basically, we're going to use this link here, and it's going to give me a link, and you're just going to click copy. And then you're going to, let me get out of myself. That's not what I wanted to do either. And you're going to make a new assignment. And this is in science class, new assignment. And then you're just going to go to the web link and paste. And then you're going to say Nearpod cells. You're going to add the link. And then in here, you're going to give the students instructions. Click on the Nearpod cells link below. Complete the Nearpod. Must be done in one sitting. And then check on course, can't spell, classroom. So whatever your workflow is here to tell them what to do. And we're going to save and publish it. And then I'm going to go in as a kid. Actually, I think I have a kid open here. And I didn't name the assignment, obviously. You should probably name your assignment. I only have 5 million called new assignments. So then it shows them the instructions. Click on the Nearpod cells link below. Complete the Nearpod, must be done in one sitting. Check on course classroom. So I'm going to click on the Nearpod. I'm the kid. It's going to automatically open for the kid in Nearpod, just like this. It saves my name because I have it set to save my name, just so you know. And you're going to click join lesson. I'm going to go through the lesson. Pretend like I'm watching all the videos and listening to all of it because we've already done all of this. I think that cells help the body. We're going to click. They have to click submit down here. Yes. Yes, I can go back. They don't have to enter a code, Nancy. It literally opens right for them in Nearpod. If you use that link where I showed you. The other thing the kids can do is save to this Google Drive, and it basically creates a notes for them, and they can see this later, even if you have it closed off. And I'll show you what that looks like too. So say on this side, if I'm a kid, I have questions here, and I'm going to say, I am confused about what an organelle is. And you're going to click on that, and the kids are going to keep track of their questions because this is asynchronous, right? They're home by themselves. All right, and they're going to keep going through, and then maybe I'm going to ask a question, what is a membrane? And not everybody's grade level kids going to be able to do this. Or parents may be doing this for them if you're working with littles. I'm going through, I get to my quiz, and I'm going to go through and I'm going to skip the quiz. Notice it, because we set it up to require submission, it says, looks like you haven't answered this question, please submit. This student, if they don't know the answer, could go back. They can go back to any of the slides they need to rework, but they cannot go forward. So once you get to the quiz question here, we're going to say no, and we're going to submit. And I think I lied to you, Whitney. Let me go back. It has immersive reader built in.
Do prokaryotes have a nucleus? A, yes. B, no.
Okay, and then they go back to the Nearpod slide to choose their answer. So this is where the read aloud option is. I didn't realize we paid for all this. It's fancy. We fancy now. All right, and then it'll tell the kid right away if they're correct or not. Now, I don't think it lets them go back and change their answer. Maybe it does. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens on the reporting end of that. Okay, now I'm at the end. Notice they still have to click this arrow right here. Once they click the arrow, it's done. They can tap to start over and submit it multiple times. I'm just saying. So you're going to have to work through the kids because some kids are going to get confused and just continually be in this loop of turning in Nearpods. Okay. So now I'm going to go back to my on-course, and then I'm the kid. So maybe your last slide, instead of check on-course classroom, would have been to go in and mark as done in on-course classroom. Now, if I was setting up this assignment, when I was setting it up, let me go back in as me. If I was setting up this particular assignment, I probably would make a few changes. I probably wouldn't make the kid click to mark as done. So let me show you how to do that. So I'm in this assignment. And first of all, I'm going to change the name so I know what the heck I'm doing. And then here where it says due date options, I'm going to put no submission required. And I'll show you what that looks like. And hopefully it won't screw me up. So to add that Nearpod in when I'm in this area of adding an assignment, you're just going to click on the web link and paste it directly from here. And you're going to call this Nearpod cells. And I'm just going to put a 1 so I know the difference. Okay. So I'm going to save the assignment. Okay. Now I'm going to go in as a different kid because I made changes. Who's this kid? Who's this kid? Same kid. I have like 400 tabs open on my computer right now. Sorry. All right. So, yes, I'm coming. I haven't got to the reported side. I'm on it. Okay. So now I'm going to go in as this kid. Science cells. Okay. Now notice, well, probably because I already published the first one. It won't have a mark as done at the bottom. Let me do a new one. New assignment. Cells number 2. This is loads of fun. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and put no submission required on this one and then put my link in. Okay. And then save and publish. Now let's see what happens. Let me make mistakes so you guys don't have to. Where did it go? What's happening here? I'm too quick for my own good. So they can click mark as done if they're used to it, but it's not going to require that they do mark as done on your end. I need to write that down because that's an error. Okay. This is why I was on the phone with on-course for an hour before. Okay. Then back to Nearpod. All right. This is kid Nearpod. Where's me Nearpod? Okay, so now I can go and click this and click view progress. It'll show me everybody who's logged in. Because you don't build classes in Nearpod, it's not going to show you who hasn't done it, but it will show you all the students who have done it. Okay, and then you can go to the next page and just keep going through until you get to the open-ended questions. So at the bottom, you can click show student names, and then you can listen to all the students' responses. Or if it was typed, because this student recorded, you could see all the typed answers of all the kids. So you can just listen here. I think that, I don't want to listen to myself, but, and then keep going. And then here, it'll show you all the students who chose A and who chose B. Now remember when it let that kid go back and change his answer? So I had done it correctly the first time, and then they went back and changed it to the wrong answer. So it didn't keep that first answer. It only kept the second one. So that's going to be something to let the kids know that it's only going to take your most recent submission while you're still in there. Now, obviously, if the kid went and did another Nearpod, it would show Christy Amy underneath. And I highly suggest that you teach them to put both their first and last names. Because whatever they type in that box is what you see. So if they type tray and you have 3 trays, you can't tell who did which. Okay, back to Nearpod. Where am I? All right, so this is my code if I needed to share it again. And notice it's got a link, a share link, and it pops up every time if you're watching it. And then I'm going to go back to Nearpod and go to my reports. And it's going to say an assessment report of this presentation will be sent to your email account. I say, okay. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I've never seen that before. Always new. If you were already out of it, you could just go here, go back to the student paste. Notice it already has one instance of being open. If you click on that, you can click view progress here, and it's the same thing, which I'm not going to view. Okay. If you were already in here and needed to see reports, underneath my library is reports. And you can see all the different ones that I've done. And we're going to click on the cells. And it's going to tell me that this particular session, every session is when you make a new 5-digit code. So you may want to have different 5-digit codes for your different classes. If you're middle and high, you may want to have a period 1, period 2, period 3, so that you can easily keep up with your grade book. If you're lower and self-contained, I don't think it would make a difference. So here you can change the name. So I'm going to change this name, and this is going to be period 1, because I forgot to do that. And then I'm going to go over here to my little house button, and this is the report that I get. So it showed me that I had 100% student participation, which you don't have classes built in here, so it doesn't really show that, and only if students half finish it, if that makes sense. So say I am Karen Binder and I started but didn't finish, it would show me 50% or 25% had answered. And then on my quiz, how many were right and how many were wrong, and then basically underneath. And then I can click on, so I'm in the summary, now I can click on the quiz, and it'll show, it says no optional instructions entered. Do prokaryotes have a nucleus? And when I click the little arrow, it'll say Christy Amy, student response, wrong answer. Now, notice I spoke my answer. So it's not going to know whether that answer was right or wrong. Then you're going to go to your open-ended here, my response, and you can actually click through each individual one. And notice it says no answer or free text down here, 100% free text, because recorded answers was open-ended question was there. So for this particular quiz response, let me figure out how to get to that kid. And you can download this, but I think that's what I asked for. And let's just look at, you can do a session view or a student view. Say you wanted to give student feedback, and you're going to click on the students you want to download. You can download it to Google Drive or your local drive. I'm just going to click local so that I can pull it up easier. And this is what you get to give to the kids. This is the date and time the student did it. This is how many slides they saw. This is the amount of participation in quizzes and any information underneath. Now notice it says NA, no answer, because that was a spoken answer. And then you have here 100% participation. What do you think the cell is? And that was open-ended, just on participation. And then let's show what it looks like if I download the session view, although there's only one kid, but this would allow you to see everybody on that session, so everybody in that class. No, it didn't. So it didn't show me the right. Oh, it did show the right answer. Did it show the right answer? Technically, yes, because I only had 2 options. But if I had 4, I don't know. I got to build that to look. Something doesn't seem right with that. Let me see something. Well, don't tell them they can go back. Maybe that's an error. Let me see something. Stephanie, are you still here?
I am.
How do you give these kids participation if they didn't put anything in the answer box, but they recorded it?
I don't know because I didn't have mine set to record when we were doing this.
Okay. That's going on as question. And then Sue's question was, we have it not see the right answer.
But even if they showed that they got a wrong answer, they can still go back and try to change it then? Like even if it said, let's say you had 5 choices and it said you got it wrong, but they didn't give the correct choice, they can still go back and try to guess again.
Yeah. Maybe that's something I have wrong in my Nearpod. Let me figure this out. Maybe I have it set like that. Because then if that's the case, you're going to want to have them go and do an assessment in on-course if you don't want them to see the right answer. Like to me, this would just be formative. Like if you want them to go through and learn the right answers, but you wouldn't use this as like a summative where they could go back and change their answers. Okay, let's see. Go to lesson settings in your person. So, you have to turn, I think it's automatically on the immersive reader. I think Fritzy asked me that. It's on. Enable student notes, which means they can annotate their lessons or share the notes with others. Show quiz and multiple choice question results. Here you go. Students will be able to see a graded version of their quiz and student-paced lessons and multiple choice questions. This setting will only apply to new lesson codes. So if you didn't want them to see the right answer, you just toggle that off, Sue. And then same thing for live paced. If you don't want them to be able to resubmit their answers after you talk them through. I have a collaborate board on for self-paced lessons and then require student submissions. These are the only 2 I had to go in and change, was these bottom 2. Require student submissions. And it's only on polls, quizzes, open-ended questions, and draw it. They can't go on to the next one. And then I enabled the collaborate board because you could use that on your synchronous day. Pull up the collaborate board of all of the ideas or questions they had and go over it. Even though the kids may not be able to see, if they're the first one logging in, they're not going to be able to collaborate, but you can talk about it in your synchronous when you go over it with the kids. Okay. So you saw this student here, fix this. And you can have it on and then toggle it off and then create a new code. So say you gave them, say I gave them this as formative, but then I wanted to give it again As a summative, I would just turn this off, create a new code, and have them do the same one, and they would not be able to go back and change their answers. Okay, the other thing is this 3 dots on it. So you can share it with teachers. Sharing it with teachers gives them a copy. They can make adjustments or whatever. But I'm going to say this. All of the shared with teachers that I've gotten have only allowed me to view it. I can't do anything else but view it as the teachers would. So what you're going to want to do is add it to either a folder. You can make your own folders in here because obviously mine's a haphazard mess. You could add it to a folder, or you could add it to the school or district library. I am not sure what humans have the rights to do all of that. I think division heads can add it to the school library. I'll go back and check. Yeah, got it. Thanks. Yes, any administrators can add it to the school library, and this is not what this should be called. Why am I in this school? Didn't even ask me what school I wanted to put it in. Oh. Ignore that because you guys are in your right schools. I'm just not. This is not what this should be called either. Grr. So, yes, I'm in as a district, which is the same thing as a school admin. So like Karen's a school admin for DJOD. So this is what she can see. So if I wanted to go in and see my person on here, let's see, blah, blah, blah. So if I'm like an administrator, you can go into let me go back so I can show them how to get here since I started doing it without telling. You're going to have this manage school or manage district thing here. And then you're going to go to manage users. And then here you have all these people. Actually, I can fix you right now, Hope. All right, you should be fixed now, Hope. All right. So if you wanted to go in and see what they're doing, you're going to go in. Let me find somebody who I know has stuff. Let me go into Stephanie's since she's here. It gives you these options to remove people, impersonate, edit, or manage permissions. So I'm going to impersonate. So what this does is it brings you into that teacher's classroom. So you can see all the Nearpods they have. You can go into all their reporting that you need to view any of the post-session reports in here. Social distancing, that's cute. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to Nearpod and go back to, how do I get out of Stephanie? And impersonate. There you go. Oh, me doing all the things so that you guys don't have to. All right. And then you can go down to usage and see which of your teachers are using them the most. You can switch. Like obviously I can see both schools. Like it's listed here correctly as the schools. What is happening? You can pull up usage statistics, which seems to be taking a while. I wish I wouldn't have done that. And you can go into post-session reports. So you can see all of your post-session reports here, and then you can search reports. Let's see. Why can't I see everybody's here? This should be everybody's. Do they have Ochsner spelled wrong? They do. I'll fix that. Oh, okay. So you have to look up them individually. So now I can see these are Karen Binder's. Ochsner is spelled wrong, just so you're aware there. I'm going to fix that. Clearly, I didn't even pay attention. So if I wanted to go back to Kenner, now obviously I can see both. So for Lynn, you're going to have Kenner Discovery, and you can search up who has been doing Carrie Commodore. And you can see all of her lessons that she had. So let's see what happens if I click this. It'll let you view all her session reports from in here. So you don't even have to go in as her. You can see all her stuff from this screen. Which is the same as what you guys see on your side. So now Karen and Lynn will be super duper ahead of the times with the other admin and knowing how to do the things. And this is like from your dashboard. It'll tell you how many students have joined and versus how many were teacher-led and pick, how many lessons were launched and what subjects. Look at our spike here. I like it. This was obviously PD. And this was students returned to campus. So not too shabby. Then it'll give you your top teachers, so how many lessons they launched. Go Janine Douglas. Okay. The other thing I want to show you is they do have ones that are already created. I caution you, like anything else, like Teachers Pay Teachers, is that you just look through and make sure. You can look through all the vocabulary videos here, and then the Nearpod library here. And there's a bazillion million of them. And we have access to all of it, where before you'd have to pay for certain ones. You have access to everything that's in here. They have tons of social emotional stuff, tons of other things. All right, real quick. And if you have to go, just go. But I'm going to go over how to upload like an ed puzzle. So you're going to go here and click video. They have a video library. It's going to pull in anything from their already made video library. They have YouTube, or you can upload your own video. Say you made your own video in Screencastify. You can make your own video in Screencastify and stop and pause and ask questions. I'm going to use a YouTube, obviously. So what it does is it opens up search videos with YouTube Safe Search. If it is in here with YouTube Safe Search, it is available for the students to view. So if you just use this Safe Search, you should be able to do it. If for some reason you have one that's not in here and you can't find it, let me know. It is kind of happening at the high school level, but not much. So we're just going to look up cells, and it's going to give me every single safe thing on cells. And the only thing that it doesn't tell me, which is frustrating, is that I don't get to see how long it is until I click it. Like, it doesn't tell me. You can preview it, click it and preview it, but it doesn't tell me how long it is. I don't want a 45-minute video. Okay, so once I choose it, I'm going to click save. And then it opens up. And then we're going to title it, because I always forget to do that. Or it's not even letting me. Cells Interactive. Okay. So then you're going to watch the video just like you were, like where you want your lesson to be. So you're going to press play.
If you had to think back about the most exciting day you ever had in the science classroom, which day would that be?
All right. So I actually want to ask that question with the kids. So I'm going to click add an activity, and your options are open-ended question or multiple choice question. And then I'm going to ask the same thing. What was your favorite, I don't even know what they said, lab activity? Save. All right. Now it's going to show up at the bottom as my open-ended question. I'm just going to keep going.
That be. Now, looking back through the years, we have a few. the time we participated in an earthworm dissection, the time we took
Let's just keep going.
prokaryotes. Both prokaryotes and eukaryotes have genetic material.
Okay. Then I'm going to add a multiple choice question. Do prokaryotes and eukaryotes have genetic material? Can't even spell, y'all. Just ignore me. Once again, you have to click the correct answer and then save. All right, so for all intents and purposes, let's as if that is what I'm going to have my lesson be. I'm going to click save. Obviously, you'd want to add them in all the way through. Now, you have three options here. Live participation means the kids can only click through the video, or they'll all have it on their screens, which means they all have to have headphones on, which is kind of a mess. Student pace, they're at home and they're doing it on their own. Front of class means you're pulling it up in the front of the class, and the students will respond on their own computers, which obviously we don't have that issue right now. So we're going to do student paste, and I'm going to click the link and copy, and I'm going to go back to OnCourse real quick and show you how this is done. And then just click on the web link and add the link. Now, you could have had this be the cells video initially and then also put the Nearpod in the same thing. It's up to you. For time-sensitive purposes, because I don't want to take up too much of your Sunday, I'm just going to show you this. Okay. So now I'm in as a kid. I'm going to go to my science class, see my cells video, click on it. It opens directly in Nearpod automatically. There's nothing else you have to do. The video, put my name in. It will not allow you to fast forward through the video. They have to watch it. That's why I put a question so far at the beginning.
If you had to think back about the most exciting day you ever had in the science classroom, which day would that be?
Now, the open-ended question appears at the bottom. The kids can expand it. So I'm going to say, I liked the color change flame test. And then click submit. Submit. Continue playing.
Now, looking back through the years, we have...
They can go back, but they can't go forward. Notice I can't drag this past a question. Well, you're not supposed to drag it past a question. Let's see what happens if I get to the end. This is in beta, so this is going to be really interesting.
Well, then if you get a chance, I have a question.
Oh, okay. Got you.
Yeah, I know you're busy.
Okay. So now I want to go back into my student paste, and I want to click on this. Do I need to refresh? I've never looked at this from a teacher before because it's brand new. Good question, Letitia. I'm not real sure. I don't think it did. Yes, it does. Okay, the reports are here, evidently. So I can look in here and view my report. And basically what it does is it takes, you can click on the blue dots and it'll show the name and all the kids' answers. And then I can go to the next one and they didn't answer. But it's not supposed to let them go past it, but I'll work on that. But this allows you to embed it in your questions in your video instead of having to separate it all out. Does anybody have any questions? I know I went quickly through the video thing. It's brand new, so I haven't played around with it a whole lot. I will add that to my to-do list of things to do.
Christy, I have a general question. Since you can record, let's say you wanted to present a slideshow information, since you can record on each slide, is there really only advantage of doing a screencastify so they can see your face doing that versus doing it on the Nearpod, recording on the Nearpod?
The video is going to be better on Screencastify than it is in Nearpod. Plus, you get the whiteboard features and screencasting features of Screencastify, where Nearpod won't do that.
Okay, yeah, got it. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Any other questions, comments, things they want me to look into? Thanks, guys, for giving up some of your Sunday. I kind of wanted to front load some of this so you had an idea of how you were going to utilize some of this material before tomorrow comes. I have opened my office hours for tomorrow at 15-minute increments. If you need that, I know that Courtney and them will be distributing computers, so I'm going to sit at my desk and answer all the things that you guys have. So send me the emails and sign up for office hours if you need it, and we will most definitely take care of anything that you guys need. And as it comes up, do not hesitate to email Courtney Bullock and I. Copy us both, because one of us might be less busy than the other, to go ahead and get a video out. Courtney Bullock is the one of the education, one of the two. There are two. There's me and Courtney Bullock, so I now have a second me. So Courtney Bullock is our educational integration specialist also, so that we can work on getting some stuff out to you. Our team of two is great. We're a dynamic duo. All right, and then Courtney, I'm going to send you a list in the morning of some videos that I'm going to do. I know you're doing computer distribution, so I'll get those to you, and as I'm doing them, I'll hyperlink them with videos. And if you get to some before me, we'll take care of that. All right, guys, have a fantastic rest of your Sunday.